So these are Canistel seedlings. And Canistel can take a really long time to germinate. It's got a really thick shell, and it takes a while for the little seed in the middle to work its way out of that really, really tough shell. Some people actually use a nutcracker or a pair of pliers to crack the shell so that the little seed can start growing faster. I did not do that. I put a lot of these seeds in the bottom of the kitchen sink, like I sometimes do with seeds that I want to germinate, and I left them there for a long time. I've added seeds, so I cannot tell you how long each one has taken to germinate, but this has been months. But it does give you a good example of the stages of growth. It starts off looking like a tiny asparagus practically, and then it starts developing leaves. Here's sort of the next stage there, and then it keeps growing. Then it starts looking more and more like Canistel leaves. So this particular method of germinating and these hardwood shavings, it seems to work out pretty well for me. Of course, there are a ton of seeds in here still that haven't germinated. I'm not sure if they are going to germinate or not. But at this stage, some of these older ones, I think they look like stylized artist interpretation of like coconut palms from a distance. But anyway, that's just my imagination. But I thought it would be a good opportunity to show you what Canistel root system looks like at this stage. So hopefully I can get these out without damaging little neighbor plants. As I said, there's these seeds, there's just a ton of seeds in here. So my whole goal was germination, not long-term growth of these. And so I want to make sure I don't damage the roots of the plant here too. I think the first one, that's my theory now anyway, the first one's going to be the hardest to get out. It has a pretty significant root system apparently. But let's see if I can. Oh yeah, there's a major root going off in a different direction. I can feel that. Okay, I think it was going through the bottom, in fact. Okay, so that gives you sort of a good idea of, here you can see that part of the shell, whoops, it finally broke off, and so there's the plant in all of its glory. So what I'm going to do with these larger plants, this was the very biggest one, is to pot them up into 1 gallon pots. That's definitely the right size for this plant at this stage in its life. And if it can get really established growing here in the 1 gallon pot, then in several months I'll be able to top work this particular plant to a known variety. You can grow Canistel from seed, and that works out pretty well. But the one that one seedling that I had planted years ago, the fruit were good, but they were a lot smaller than the known variety. So that can happen. Of course, sometimes you get big fruit from your seedling trees too. So basically just trying to get the plant at the right level here and all of the air pockets out. But that, add a little bit more soil because I know it's going to settle down a little bit. But that tree right now is ready for the shade house. So I'm going to put this tree and probably pot up like 4 of these other seedlings, and put them all in the shade house so they can start growing. And then the rest of the space should have fewer roots for the particular, these seeds that haven't yet germinated. So that's Canistel. It's a fruit that I like a lot. Got a very different taste. It's more like a baked potato than a fruit that you're used to, but very pretty tree, and it's really nice looking fruit and very tasty fruit.